So the second part after getting started is you need mentorship, because okay, well, now you've got started, you've looked at your resources, but you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what options are available to you. You need somebody to guide you. I actually like to, instead of calling myself a mentor or guru, I actually like Sherpa, because a Sherpa is somebody who's been up that hill many, many times. They know the path, they know the quickest way to get there. And instead of just preaching to you and saying, hey, do this, this, and this, they can take you up that hill with them. And so, but if we do use the word mentorship, which fits in with the word smart, it's so important to not wing it. Don't try to figure this out yourself. Those mistakes that you make are going to cost you a lot of money, and most importantly, you're losing a lot of time. So wasting money and then finding out you need a Sherpa after the fact is not nearly as smart as getting that guide before you get started. The time to get the map is before you go into the woods. Once you go into the woods by yourself, it may be too late. So let somebody who's been in the business a long time show you exactly the way to be successful. And the right mentor is going to teach you something that's proven, something they've done over and over and over again. The right mentor is going to hold your hand every step of the way, because a lot of times, even if I teach you, if I give you the blueprint and say all you have to do is A, B, and C to get a result and to get paid, a lot of times we have that inner voice and it says, who are you? You're not a real estate investor. And of course, everybody around you is going to say, you're not a real estate investor. I thought you were, aren't you a bartender? When did you become a real estate investor? And everybody around you is going to try to convince you that you're not cut out for this. So you need somebody that's going to hold your hand, help you with the things like the paperwork. Eventually, to make a paycheck, you've got to take a leap of faith in yourself. And when you get to that edge, if you don't jump off the cliff, you're not going to get that paycheck. And so I'm there to jump with you and hold your hand, walk you through it, help you through the negotiations. Every step of the way, I'm there to help you. Now, the vast majority of people that try to learn real estate themselves, they either never make enough money to make it worth it. Quite often, they take a big loss on their first deal and they never go back. They become very shy to try it again. It's very hard to get back up after a big mistake, because it's really a blow to the ego. And then on top of it, all the people around you who said, oh, you're never going to be successful, now you're believing them because they were right and you're wrong. Or they end up becoming very stressed out because they end up taking on way more than they should. They don't know how to be efficient. They don't have teams. They don't, all they're doing is becoming, they're going from their 8-hour a day job to what I used to be, and that's doing that 12 to 14 hour a day job. And in a lot of cases, you're making less money than you did working that 8 hours. Or quite often, they buy something that's a money pit and they realize it after they bought it, and then it's too late. And they end up losing a lot of their resources. And once again, it's hard to get back up after you've taken a big fall. So some of the things that you want to look for when you choose a mentor, one, you want to find somebody who's actually doing real estate. Because there's a lot of people out there that are really, really good marketers. They know how to dangle that carrot over your head that basically says you're going to get rich quick if you just follow our instructions. And a lot of these people are not real estate experts. A lot of them, they put a real estate expert or somebody maybe that you know from TV who isn't really a real estate expert, because reality TV, by the way, is not real, just so you know. But they put somebody in front of you that maybe you recognize from one of those flipping shows on TV. You're never going to see that person again. So even if they were really successful investors, which often they're not, they don't really know how to get you on the right path. But more importantly, you're never going to see those people again, because it's really the marketers using them to lure you in. And once they've got your money, you're not going to get great training. You're going to get training from people that have very little experience, if any, and they don't know the way. They don't know how to get you to your destination. So you need to stay away from those kind of people. You need to find somebody who's still actively doing real estate, like I am. It doesn't have to be me, but make sure it's somebody who's actively doing real estate, who's living the lifestyle that you want to live, and have them guide you. And if anybody tells you you can get rich quick in this business, they're lying to you. If I knew how to get rich quick, I'm a 32-year overnight success story. So you can definitely make a lot of money in real estate. It doesn't have to take a long, long time. But just by signing up from a course, you're not going to be a millionaire the next day, I guarantee it. So if you're looking for the right mentor, once again, make sure they have the experience, they have the know-how, and they're willing, and the person that you sign up with is actually physically going to be the person teaching you. So, and a lot of people though think, oh, I don't need a mentor. I'm just going to figure it out myself. Well, here's a story about me when I first got started, because that's exactly what I thought. When I first got into business, I kind of got in by mistake, and I was actually studying. I was planning to be a lawyer, which was my parents' dream for me, and basically I got my first degree, racked up a whole bunch of student loans, and then I decided to get a job at the phone company to pay off those loans before I went back to get my second degree. And while I was at the phone company, I managed to get my credit really good. I managed to save up a little bit of money. I certainly didn't have my student loans paid off. I saved up a little bit of money, and then I actually bought my first home to live in. Shortly after that, my mortgage broker calls me up and goes, hey, Mike, you know what? You might want to consider buying a second home. I can get you another mortgage if you want to buy a second home. And I thought, why do I want a second home? I'm like a single guy. I don't really need two residences. He goes, no, Mike, you buy it, you put a tenant in place, and then 25 years down the road, it's paid off. The tenants are making your mortgage payment for you every month. And in 25 years, it's paid off, and that's your retirement fund. And I thought, okay, well, that makes sense. And so I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know any due diligence, but I went and bought a second property. And then a couple years after I bought it, I was still working at the phone company, still paying off student loans, but the market took off. And all of a sudden I was sitting on all this equity, both in my principal residence and this revenue property. And I was hooked. At that point, I was in my mid-20s. I thought I knew everything there was to know about real estate. I promptly quit my job at the phone company, which don't do that. Don't quit your job prematurely, because as I found out, well, now I don't qualify for a mortgage anymore. And now some of my resources have now gone away. I also promptly told my parents, being a lawyer was your dream for me. That's not my dream. I'm a real estate investor. And I thought I was God's gift to real estate investing. So I went and did my next deal. Now remember, that first deal was meant to be a 25-year hold. And I had now quit my job. And so I went from being having a long-term approach to having a get-rich-quick approach. And so I didn't know the due diligence. I just thought, oh, well, it'll just work out because it did on the first one. And so I just bought another property, this time with the intention of flipping it. And because I didn't have a job, I needed to flip it relatively quickly because I had a lot of the money that I made on my first deal tied up in this deal. And I winged it, and I lost a whole lot of the money that I made on that first deal on the second deal. Now, the moral of the story is shortly after that, I did not want to tell my parents they were right. My mother was driving me crazy. Get your second degree, and you can always go back into real estate after. Then you have something to fall back on. I said, Mom, don't worry, I've got this. And I didn't have the heart to tell her she was right. And plus, I was very stubborn because I was in my mid-20s, so I couldn't tell my parents they were right. And I couldn't really go back to the phone company with my tail between my legs looking for my job back. So I knew I had to make it work. And I knew if I winged it again, what little money and resources I had left, I was going to lose. So I basically hired my first, and now I've had many mentors, but that was my very first mentor. And he showed me what I did wrong on that deal. He showed me how to do things properly. And then I can't say that every deal since then has been perfect, but I've had a heck of a lot more successes than failures as a result of that person's mentorship. So if I could go back to my younger self, I would have got the mentor first before I even did my next deal. If I would have known the due diligence steps, if I would have known where some of the landmines are, I could have saved myself a whole lot of stress, a whole lot of money, and the mentorship actually was a lot cheaper than the lesson I got on my own. So just be really careful when you try to do it yourself. And also, there's so many different strategies in real estate. And if you learn one and you think you're an expert, you might be missing out on a much bigger paycheck by doing things differently. So you don't know what you don't know, and that's where a lot of the danger is. Hey, Mike Wolf here. Today I'm in a place called Bansko, which is in Bulgaria, Eastern Europe. And this is my first time here. I've been traveling around Europe for a couple of months now. And this is, I think, my 7th country so far, and many more to come. But it's all possible because of the passive income I've created through real estate. So if you want to learn how to do this too, make sure you click the link below. We'll have a conversation to see if my Wolf Pack, which is my mentorship program, is right for you.